Welcome to A Few Thoughts About, the show where we dig into thinking and how it shapes our experience of life. Each week, I share insights and observations to get you thinking. No long lectures, just quick, thought-provoking episodes to shift perspectives so that you can make the change you want to make. Let's get into it. Hey, before we get started, I want to invite you to join me and my good friends Sam and Ellie for some free coaching calls. So we have been having such a great time in our membership and the stuff that we've done in the Live, Present, and Sober group, and we want to share that with people. We are hosting a completely free coaching call. A totally free call where you can join us. Sometimes it'll be all three of us. Sometimes it'll just be one of us. Sometimes it'll be two of us. You never know what you're going to get, but you will absolutely get a fantastic opportunity to ask questions, to get coached, and to be part of a conversation. So if you have been curious, if you've been like, man, I really wonder what those three weirdos are doing on their calls, I want to invite you to join us. There is a link in the show notes where you can go and get signed up. These calls happen once a month. We're rotating times, we're rotating days. So if you go sign up, you will get emails that will tell you when the calls are going to be and how you can join. So please come join Sam and Ellie and I for free Live, Present, and Sober coaching calls. They are going to be awesome. That is it for me. Let's start the show. Well, hello there, and welcome to A Few Thoughts About Noise. Have you ever had this experience? And I know I probably am because I am getting older. But even prior to that, I remember this happening when I was much younger. Have you ever been like in a crowded restaurant trying to have a conversation? And the conversation is there, but it can be super hard to hear because there's just noise, right? There's just a whole bunch of other people talking. Maybe there's kitchen noise. Maybe there's just plate banging noise. I don't know what you call that. Just background restaurant noise. Our minds are a lot like that. Like we have so much noise going on all the time, right? It's things like worrying or overthinking or replaying yesterday or thinking about tomorrow or, criticizing yourself or thinking about what if that, what if this, what if that, you just on and on and on, right? We have imaginary conversations. We try to figure things out. It's not that noise is bad. As a matter of fact, like a lot of the time, those thoughts we have can sort of lead us to take actions that can be helpful. It's just a lot of extra information. And to be honest with you, most of the time it's not important. And that's where the problem comes in, is we start to think it is important, right? We start to worry about that thing or overthink that other thing or, remember that conversation we have and go, oh my God, what is wrong with me? They probably think I'm such an idiot, right? This noise creates emotions in us that can feel really urgent. It can feel like, oh my God, this is something I have to pay attention to right fucking now. Like, because of the way this feels, it means there is something to do, right? And you've heard me talk about this idea before that like thoughts create an emotion and then that emotion makes us think, I've got to do something. I've got to fix it, right? I've got to call that person or do this thing or whatever. But that's not normally what we do with noise, right? Noise is just something that sits in our head and we just go over it and over it and over it and over it. And you can be honest with yourself. Like, have you ever actually solved a problem by thinking about it for 6 hours straight? I don't think I have. Maybe you have. And if you have, congratulations. That's one hell of a powerful mind. But usually what happens is we just become more confused, right? We hear that noise. We pay attention to that noise. And all of a sudden, we have to do something about it. We have to fix it. And this is true, especially for people who drink. Like, a lot of my clients with drinking, we talk about this idea that like alcohol is an escape. But very often, if you listen to people talk, they don't talk necessarily about escaping their lives. They might frame it that way, but more often than not, what you hear people say is, I want to shut my brain off, right? Drinking becomes an escape from the noise, right? That constant chatter, the looping thoughts, all of this stuff that starts to drive us crazy over time. That noise in the background to where we can't hear the conversation. It feels like our lives are absolutely full of this noise. Now, there's a question here, right? Which is like, well, what do we do about it? Right? This noise is here. And actually in the next episode, I'm going to be talking about the signal versus the noise. So stay tuned for that. But I want to give you something to think about for this episode. Think about where your best ideas come from. They very rarely come from when you're fighting the noise, right? From when you're pushing back against those constant thoughts. They don't come generally from the internal battle that is raging between these noisy thoughts and the way you want to feel. Generally, fresh thought comes from nowhere. It comes out of nowhere, right? It's when we're driving. I'm driving along, singing along with the National, and all of a sudden it occurs to me X. Or, man, I was in the shower and I've been working on this problem for so long, and all of a sudden I saw the answer. Or maybe it happens on vacation, right? You're out and about. Maybe you're out for a nice walk in an early morning on a beach, and all of a sudden this answer comes to you, right? All of these moments have one thing in common. You weren't trying to force clarity. You weren't trying to make those things happen. You were letting go of the noise because of the focus on whatever it is that you're doing, right? The noise was dissipating. And when the noise dissipates, that's when we start to see things a little bit more clearly. And I want to make something really clear. Like, noise isn't the enemy. We all have noisy days, right? Some days your brain is probably noisier than others, and that's okay, because as far as I know, you're a human. There might be some cats and dogs listening to this, in which case woof and meow, but most of you listening are humans. And the mistake that we make as humans is we begin to think that every noisy thought deserves our attention. But if you take a step back, you begin to realize that whatever the noise might be about, it doesn't get solved by more noise. It gets solved by space. So maybe developing peace isn't about adding better thoughts or figuring out how to capture the noise. Maybe it's about realizing that not every thought deserves to be amplified. That some days we have noisy days, and that's okay. When we can let the noise play on, when we can make it not mean anything, then we can take a breath and keep moving, because we know at some point in the future that noise is going to die down. And whatever it is that we need to hear, we will hear. Well, there you go. What do you think about that? That's a few thoughts about the noise. Reach out to me, scottpinier.com/podcasts. Like I say every week, I totally love to hear from you. Recording these podcasts is one of my favorite things, and hearing from you is also one of my favorite things. So scottpinier.com/podcast. You got ideas, you want to say hi, whatever it is, please feel free to send me a note. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll be back again next week.